What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new up in this place and you're joining us for the first time, or you're returning and you have not subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button. To all my older subscribers in the family, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for being part of the journey. We are now sitting at 2,000 subscribers, guys. I'm so excited and I'm grateful to you guys for subscribing. You know, it takes a lot to click the subscribe button. Even me on other people's channels, I'm just like, am I getting value here? You know, so I'm glad that you guys saw and you got some value from this channel. Yeah, I've been off for I think 2 weeks now. I haven't been posting, and yeah, it's mainly because I had stuff planned for the channel which involved other people. So I had like collaboration ideas with other people. Initially they were for it, and then throughout the follow-up and the setting of the time, people were like, actually no, we're not very comfortable sharing our journey on a video because, you know, for other reasons and whatever, and these are reasons I had to respect. So I was then not able to shoot the content that I wanted to give to you guys, which was basically collaborations. But anyway, we will find another way at another time. But for now, I am back. Today's video is about admin that nobody tells you about. If you've already seen the title, you know we're talking about that. So why? I'm just gonna look at my notes from my phone, right? The first thing is, why am I talking about admin, and what is it about admin that's so peculiar for trainees? So the thing about this is, nobody really tells you about it until you start your training contract and you realize there is actually a lot of admin that you need to do, sometimes on a monthly basis, sometimes every 6 months, sometimes every 2 months. It depends on what it is that you need to do, but at the end of the day, you need to do certain amount of admin for you to qualify as a CA, right? So the first thing, when you get into your firm, whether it be an audit firm or a private company or any other company, okay, let's say tip and top, right? Wherever you go, bank, whatever, it doesn't matter, you have to register your training contract with SAICA. So before you start working, you have a training contract with a firm, and that's basically what it is. It's an agreement between you and the firm to say you will come and work for this number of years while gaining training and experience that you will need to be a newly qualified CA, right? That's just like a standard normal employment contract. But when you actually start on the first day or the first week or the first month, you will be required to register your training contract with SAICA. So you registering your training contract with SAICA basically means you are now a SAICA student, over and above being an employee of your firm or your company. You are a SAICA student, right? So this training contract is basically for SAICA's tracking purposes. So they track every student that is in their program who wants to qualify as a CA or an AGSA, or the other one, there's a third qualification that I forgot that SAICA has. So you have to register your training contract with SAICA. This is where you now get your SAICA number. So you know that every CA has a SAICA number. It's basically who you are at SAICA and how they can recognize you and track you, right? So the day you register your training contract and SAICA sends an email and say, hi Ntwanano, your training contract has been registered with SAICA, they provide you with a SAICA number. That SAICA number is the number you're going to use for your registration as a CA, is the number that if you ever happen to have a practice, an accounting practice or whatever, it's the number that you're going to use as well. It's also the number that you're going to use for your APC and your board exam that you write for SAICA. So that basically becomes your SAICA number. That is the importance of registering with SAICA. The second admin is, and I think this is like the biggest admin that trainees sort of drag to do, is claiming competencies. So, right, I thought, you know, with SAICA and the training, all you have to do is get through the training contract, do first year, second year, third year, and then you qualify as a CA and it's all rosy and you can leave, right? But no, it doesn't work like that. From first year until third year, there are competencies that you need to get. So what you do basically is you register on a system, on an LTS system. It's a learner tracking system by SAICA. I think it is not specific to a firm. Every person who is registered with SAICA or has a registered training contract with SAICA is loaded onto the LTS system so they can track their competencies basically, right? So on this system, you have to write down after each and every engagement, audit engagement. I'm going to speak from the perspective of audit, but obviously people in banks and people in other companies also use the same system. But after every engagement, you have to go in the LTS system, create an SR. An SR is basically a skills review that says, I have gotten in this engagement, I have done, for example, budgets, I have done costing, variances, whatever, and then you need to record that in the relevant competency and say, I was able to do this type of work alone, I didn't need help, and my work was competent. And then you can give yourself either a level 3 or a level 4 or a level 1, depending on how you feel you performed on the task. So when you're still in third year, SAICA gives us like a generic training guide that says, for the first 6 months of your first year, we expect you to have gotten these type of competencies, and then for the second 6 months of your first year, you should be at this point. So it goes on like that in 6-month intervals. 6 months of first year, the last 6 months, first 6 months of second year, the last 6 months, and third year, just like that. So it sort of give you a guide to say, in the first 6 months of my first year, I should at least have done this or done that or done that. And now it's not exactly that it will go that way. Sometimes based on how you planned on different clients, you can on the generic training guide, they can expect you to have a certain competency or have done certain work, but you haven't gotten the opportunity, mainly because of your planning or because of the clients that you're on, or you're not getting the exposure. This actually happened to me on my first client that I started on. It was actually a very big client, and I didn't do the PPE section or the bank and the cash section, which is basically what is expected within the first 6 months of your first year. And I didn't do that because this was such a big client. For this client, the PPE section and the bank and cash section was a second year competency level, right? So I, as a first year, couldn't get that, so I fell behind, and that is fine. You can still catch up with your competencies. Just make sure that at every client that you go to, you sort of have like a development plan to say, in my last client I did bank and cash, I would like not to do that again here and get different competencies. Obviously it depends on your manager and how they allocate the work to you, but you can have that conversation up front, right? So that is the LTS system and the SR. I think what trainees hate the most about this is the fact that you have to do at least 2 of the skills review every 2 months, right? So Jan-Feb you have to submit at least 2, I think, and then Feb, and then March, April, May, June, just like that. So every 2 months you have to submit an SR on LTS. So that is SAICA's requirement. The other thing is that, remember, on the SR thing, you rate yourself. So if you say, I did the PPE section, I got this competency and that competency and that competency, and I think I got these competencies at a level 4, for instance, that is your own rating, that is your own assessment. The manager will then have a look at your skills review and say, yes, she did the PPE section, but I think she does not deserve a level 4 yet because we sort of helped her with this and that, and she needed guidance here and there. So managers will agree sometimes with your rating, sometimes they will not agree with your rating, sometimes they will rate you down. So if you rate yourself a level 4 is like the highest you can get. So if you rate yourself a level 4, and they feel that you're not competent enough to get a level 4 yet, they can rate you down to a level 3 or a level 2 or a level 1. Personally, I think it's better to always aim for the top, guys, but obviously be reasonable. You know, if you know that your manager helped you with this or someone helped you, you can't be like, I did all of this by myself, the quality is great. You need to be fair, and you need to be objective. So yeah, that's ratings. What other thing is there about ratings? So obviously at the end of your training contract is you need to have shown every competency on that LTS system or the SR report at a level 4. So Ntwani, what happens if I'm at the end of my 3rd year and I didn't get all the competencies that I should have gotten according to SAICA? This is what happens. At the end of your 3rd year, your performance manager, you are allocated a performance manager if you're an audit firm. They have a look at your competencies and what you've claimed over the 3 years and how many times you've claimed it. So just because you claimed something once at a level 4 does not mean you're competent. You need to show it repeatedly until they satisfy that, okay, this person has done this the enough number of times, right? So when you get at the end of 3rd year, they'll have a review at that and then say that, okay, cool, we think you have gotten all your competencies, which is great, then you can get signed off and you go. If not, if you don't have all your competencies, they can then have a meeting with you, a meeting with your counseling partner and your training officer. So SAICA allocates training officers to the different audit firms. So you can have a meeting and say, okay, we think you still need more competencies on this and that. We may there may be an opportunity for you to go on a client where you will do these competencies, and then we can sign you off still in record time, which is great. I think that is like the one thing you want to happen if you don't have all your competencies. The worst thing that can happen if you don't have your competencies is that they can then decide to extend your training contract. So extension basically means at the end of 3rd year, we're going to extend your contract for the next maybe 3 months or 6 months, where you will get an opportunity to showcase these competencies that you're lacking, and then after that we will review again for sign off. So basically, instead of finishing your training contract in 3 years, you will finish in 3 years and 6 months or 3 years and 3 months, depending how long the extension period is. So what I'm gonna say is that, guys, when you get into 1st year, you need to acquaint yourself with what competencies do I need to get in 1st year, what do I need to start showing in 2nd year, and what do I need to start showing in 3rd year. Try at every engagement that you go to ask the manager for sections that will give you important competencies. There are certain sections where you will definitely get the competencies, things like audit, things like testing, your controls, your audit work. That is generic, you do it at every client, it's gonna be easy for you to get that. But things like budget, things like drafting an engagement letter, it's very difficult to get those competencies because budgeting is only done once a year. So if you miss it at the time when a lot of clients are doing their budgets, then you sort of have to get it the next year. So you need to ask for those opportunities from your managers. Even with engagement letters, it's very rare to get it's not rare, but it's like a bit more difficult to get engagement letter competencies because mainly the partner will do it or the manager will do it, and the engagement letter is one of those things that are done way before the team even comes to the client, because how do you come to the client without the engagement letter, right? So you need to be proactive and read that SR and see what you need to get. Yeah, I think that's it on competencies. If you have any more questions on competencies, drop them down below and I will be sure to answer them. The third thing, the third admin that we have to do is basically an ANA, which is an assessment needs analysis. That is when you sit with your PM every 6 months and say, okay, for the past 6 months, according to SAICA's training guide, these are the competencies I should have gotten, this is what I have, what do I need to develop on? And this you have to do every 6 months according to SAICA. The last thing, which I think is very firm specific, but I think most firms do it, is an engagement review. So engagement review is basically you getting onto your firm system. So this is not done on any SAICA system, it's specific to your firm. You get onto your firm system and say, for this engagement that I was on, I was planned on this client for 3 weeks or 3 months or however long it was, and during this time I was responsible for this section and that section and that section. I think I performed well here, I think I lagged here, I think I can improve there, I think I didn't know what to do here. So basically it's you doing your own review on a client engagement, and then your audit manager then comes in and say, yes, she lagged here, she performed good here, she needs to improve this, we need to change that. So basically they review you. At the end of that, they then have to decide together with the engagement partner whether you meet expectation on that audit engagement, or you are below expectation, or you exceed expectation. So you can either get any of those three ratings, specific to each firm, obviously. So then from there, with every engagement you're gonna do this ER, and then at the end of the year, or yeah, I think at the end of the year, managers have a calibration meeting where they sit and say, this is Ntwani's history, this is Ntwani's progress over the year. On this client she's great here, on this client she's good here. And then they sort of have a conversation amongst each other and say, how did you experience Ntwani on this client? Is she friendly? Is she nice? Can she do the work? How's the quality of her work? And then there they decide if you are good for a promotion, or if you don't get promoted, or if you get a raise or you don't get a raise. So guys, admin is a lot when you're in training. You never really know this until you're actually there, but it's quite a lot. So if you didn't know, now you know. And when you know better, when you know better, you do better, right? That's what they say. So I hope you found this video quite helpful. These are stuff I didn't know when I started my training contract, and I hope you guys walk into your training contract with all the cards on the table. You know what to expect, you know what to do. Guys, competencies are important. If you are not getting your competencies, you need to make a plan to get them. Like, it is the first thing. Like, I don't care about the raise, I don't care about the rating or the increase, the promotion. Just give me the competencies, because without the competencies there's no signing off, and without signing off there is no CASA. You know what I mean? So if you guys like this video, please do hit the like button, comment down below, let me know how you found it. Did you know these things? Were you aware of these things or not? And if you have not subscribed already, please do hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.